morning, everyone, and welcome in across the continent and beyond for another very exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast. If you're joining us for the first time, we're all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And everything we do goes to our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out like 4,000 other broadcasts, you want to share this one with your family and friends in 3 weeks or 3 years, you can head to our YouTube channel and do just that. Now, this has been a really amazing week epitomizing what we do as an organization. Yesterday, we went live twice to Antarctica. We've had volcanologists, earthquake geologists. We've talked about the Vera Rubin Observatory in Chile. We have done a wild gamut of all the coolest scientists you can imagine. And I'm so excited of all the broadcasts that you're joining for. You chose this one because of this one, we get to be partnered again with one of my very favorite people we have ever had on the program. And that is Dr. Sahar Saleem joining us live in Cairo. She is a radiologist who gets to explore the mysteries of mummies in tombs in Egypt. And if there's a cooler job than that, I don't know what it is. I'm so excited to welcome her back. So Sahar, I know we've got a lot to share today, so I'm going to bring you in. Hello, nice to see you again.
Hi, Jess. So nice to see you and to see all of our friends every time.
We have kids from, I think, 4 provinces, 3 states, Dubai today. You mentioned that some teachers in Egypt might have the chance to join in too, which is really exciting. Like our first broadcast with you has over like 1,500 viewers from around the world. So it's always a thrill to have you. And I'm going to dive in with our presentation, share this video that you've sent just for bandwidth reasons. And then I can't wait for all the questions our kids have. Does that sound good?
Yes, very good.
Let's do it. I'm going to get underway. Thank you so much for being here, Sahar. And thank you, audience. And let's do this thing. Here we go.
Hello, I am Sahar Saleem, Doctor of the Mummies. The Great Pyramids of Giza, the monuments, the Sphinx, the mummies. These are in the only country that has a science with its name, study its civilization. It's Egypt, and the science is Egyptology. Egypt is one of the oldest and longest lasting civilizations, which continues to this day. Because of its hieroglyphic writing system, we can learn about ancient Egypt. The Rosetta Stone decoded hieroglyphic writing, as the same text was written also in Greek. The stone, which is currently kept at the British Museum, was illegally taken from Egypt. Egypt wants it back. The rulers of ancient Egypt were the pharaohs. We know Ramses the Great, Thutmose. But one of the famous pharaohs is Tutankhamun, who ruled Egypt when he was only 9 years old for 10 years. His tomb was discovered in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, south of Egypt, in 1922. The only tomb for a pharaoh found complete. In the size of a modern garage, it contains 5,400 fabulous objects that all belong to King Tut. This treasure was transferred to Cairo to be housed in Cairo Egyptian Museum. I've been visiting Cairo Egyptian Museum with my mother and sisters since I was a little child. Tut was my childhood hero. When he was king of Egypt, he was about my age. Among his various objects that I loved was his toys. He had a lion and a chess-like Senate board. As a teenager, I visited the museum and I saw the royal chariots of the king. Tutankhamun enjoyed riding his speedy royal chariots like any teenager. He also enjoyed going to safari trips using his foldable bed and foldable chair. The golden throne chair made me always think about Tut's responsibility as a king. I first visited the tomb of Tutankhamun in Luxor when I was a teenager. Tomb number 62 in the Valley of the Kings. I realized then that Tut's mummified body, which was discovered inside 3 nested golden coffins, was indeed the most precious item in the tomb. But why did the Egyptians preserve the dead's body? Ancient Egyptians believed that there is another life after death, and death was not the end. Thus, they invented mummification, a process to preserve the body of the dead from putrefaction. Mummification took place in special workshop for about 70 days. The organs were taken out, mummified, and put in containers known as canopic jars. The jar's lid provides information about the contents. So the stomach is in the jar with the jackal lid, the intestine in the hook head's jar, the lungs are in the baboon, and the liver in the jar with the human head lid. The body was dried using special salt that come from the Valley of Natron, close to Cairo. And then the body, after several weeks, was treated with embalming materials and wrapped in a cloth made of fine linen that may reach the length of 2 miles. The mummy was put in a coffin for burial, then positioned in the tomb, where it was meant to remain there forever. But unfortunately, this did not happen, as thousands of mummies were unearthed by Western adventurers during the 19th century, extensive digs. And many mummies were smuggled to the mummy market to be purchased by European and American tourists who carried them home as souvenirs. It was not uncommon to see mummy unwrapping parties took place in public, like this one in London in 1812. This is the advertisement of 2 Egyptian mummies, male and female, to be unwrapped in front of public. It's like a circus. This was the result of the brutal unwrapping of the mummies. Mummies were even cut in museums to see what was inside them. Unfortunately, Tutankhamun's mummy was also dissected by Howard Carter, who discovered the tomb in 1925. In these dark ages in Europe and America, mummies were grinned, and the mummy powder was taken as a medicine. Also, the ground mummies were used as a paint, and many of the paintings found in the museums were painted with mummy powder, like this one in Paris Louvre Museum. It was not until November 1895 when a German physicist, Röntgen, accidentally discovered a mysterious rays. He called it X-rays because it was unknown to him, This rays penetrated his wife's hand and showed the bones beneath inside the hands. X-rays are invisible weak waves that can pass through soft tissues and air, but cannot pass through solid objects such as bones or metal. So when X-rays pass through the body, it determines what it makes it up. So dense bones appear white, while muscles and other soft tissues appear gray or black. But before X-rays were used in hospitals on humans and on patients, these mysterious rays were first tested on wrapped ancient Egyptian human and cat mummies. And for the first time, one could see what was inside the sealed mummy without unwrapping it. This took place in July 1896. With this, paleoradiology was born. It's the science of using X-ray and radiology in order to see what is inside mummies and other ancient objects. So we can see what is inside the coffin without even opening it. That tells us about the person of the mummy. Do you know that the first X-ray of pharaoh was done in Egypt in 1903 in Egypt by an Egyptian radiologist, Al-Khayyat, for King Thutmose IV? The mummy of the King Thutmose IV was transferred by a horse-driven taxi to Qasr al-Aini Medical School, which was founded in 1827. I attended this same institution, Qasr al-Aini, for 7 years of studying medicine. Following my medical degree, I specialized in radiology, imaging the body, not only with X-ray, but other technologies. One of them is CT scan. CT scan is an advanced type of X-ray. Instead of taking one image like an X-ray, hundreds of thin pictures are obtained and then combined together to create a three-dimensional image, much like toast combined to form a full loaf of bread. I specifically studied radiology of the brain to diagnose illnesses. In addition to visualizing the fetuses inside the uterus of their mothers. I even received recognition for developing the first MR imaging method to image the fetal heart inside the womb. I currently work as a professor of radiology in Qasr al-Aini Medical School, Cairo University, and worked as the head of the radiology department. It was during my studies in the University of Western Ontario in Canada when I learned how to do CT scan of mummies. When I returned back to Egypt, I worked at Cairo Egyptian Museum, the same museum which I used to visit as a child. Now I work there to scan mummies. I scanned hundreds of mummies, including 40 kings and queens of ancient Egypt. In addition to scanning the mummies in the museum, I also work at the excavation sites in the burial shafts 30 meters underground. I go down and I X-ray mummies inside these tombs.
So I'm going to take a brief break, everyone, and play this little video for you.
I do this using a portable X-ray machine and the tools that I designed myself to be light, so I can bring them down and I examined the mummies inside the tomb using in order to keep them safe and not to disturb them.
What I might do, folks, just because of how it's flowing along, is play some of these videos at the end for everybody so that you can get a sense of some of these things as we go. And then we'll take Q&A after that, because there's 4 other videos that I want to play, but it's been a little tricky to actually get them back and forth, and we can continue on with the presentation this way. All right.
I also do CT scan to scan the mummies. This is the Prince Pantaor. I do the CT scan of the mummy. As you can see here, the mummy is on the table, placed on the table, and it is moved a bit by bit in this circle. This circle is the gantry, which has the source of the X-ray. Then introduced into the gantry, thin sections of X-rays and images are being taken, and later on by the computer, they are combined to give the full 3D picture of the king. By doing paleoradiology, X-ray, and better by CT scanning, we do know about the preservation condition of the mummy, whether it is in good condition or not. The posture, the sex, whether male or female, the age and death, ancient diseases, and we can tell sometimes the cause of death. We can tell about the mummification style if there are jewelry or amulets placed inside the body to do a face reconstruction and to help in doing exhibitions in the museums. Do you know that there are different postures and arm positions of the mummy? And by doing the CT scan, I saw that when the hands are beside the body, this is in noble men and common people. And when bent and crossed on the chest, this is for kings. Or when the right hand is stretched and the left is bent on this chest, this is usually for queens. I can also tell from the CT scan of the mummy whether it is for a male or female, because the skull and the pelvis have different shapes in each sex. I also can estimate the age, which can be done in children based on the teeth eruption, as well as the degree of the bone growth. The secrets of mummification can be revealed also by the CT scan here. The brain was sometimes removed by a hook instrument inserted in the nose in order to break the skull, where the brain then was removed a bit and a bit. Sometimes the brain was left empty, as here in Tuya, the great-grandmother of Tutankhamun. The brain was removed from this opening, but it was left empty. While in King Ramses III, the brain was removed and an embalming material was inserted inside the emptied cranial cavity. To prevent putrefaction of the body, also the viscera were removed through a small cut in the left side of the flank. All the organs were removed except the heart, because the ancient Egyptians believed that the heart is the source of the house of the soul. Then the contents, then the mummified viscera were placed in the canopic jars. I can now do a CT scan in order to see what was inside the canopic jars without opening them or disturbing them. Here is the human head canopic jar, which contains Yes, correct. It contains the liver. And I can see the liver inside the canopy joint in the CT scan without opening it. Also, my investigations found up ancient diseases. And for example, here, this Princess Merit Amun, during the CT scan, I realized that she died from a heart attack 3,500 years as a result of blockage of her arteries. And that's why she died while she was sleeping. She had open mouth and crossed legs. King Amenhotep I ruled Egypt more than 3,500 years. His mummified body is still fully wrapped with beautiful cartonnage mask. I did safe virtual unwrapping of the king using CT scan, which displayed the king's face for the first time after more than 3,000 years. This work of mine has been chosen as #1 in the top 10 world archaeological discoveries in 2022 by the Archaeological Society of America, and was the cover of the Archaeology magazine in issue of January 2023. I was very happy when my work was chosen to be the first in among the world. I also do work in the storage rooms at the basement of Cairo Egyptian Museum. I do scan mummies that have been there for centuries and never studied or touched. One of them is this mummy with the beautiful golden mask. I took it from the basement to the CT scan, which is in the Egyptian Museum, and I did the CT scan. The CT revealed that it was for a boy, 15-year-old, and there were 49 amulets and jewelry pieces placed inside the body and between the wrapping. I called him the golden boy. And this is the three-dimensional CT scan that can show you the the mummy without touching it and totally in a safe way.
And again, folks, I will play that 3D scan the moment we're done the main presentation, so stay tuned for that as well.
Gizmodo magazine included this work of mine, of the Golden Boy Mummy, in their list of the world's best archaeological discoveries of 2023. So I had it in 2022 for King Amenhotep I, and the last year also for the Golden Boy Mummy. And for this first time, the mummy was taken out of the basement, which had been stored there for more than a century, and now shown at the museum for the visitors with all the information I gave from the CT scan. Aside from Egypt, I also collaborated with world museums such as Barnum Museum. After being unwrapped in 1894, a mummy was identified as belonging to an elderly man. The mummified body was CT scanned. When I interpreted the CT scan, it revealed that the body belonged to a woman. My suggestion to Barnum Museum was to call the mummified Egyptian woman Ipi, which translates as the most favored in hieroglyphic writing. I also had a great joy when I performed King Tutankhamun's CT scan. CT scans of the mummy of Tutankhamun allowed me to prepare a digital 3D model of his skull. I thought of giving a gift for Tutankhamun by reconstructing his face. I chose a Canadian team to work with me. Using a 3D printer, Tut's skull was converted from a 3D CT computer model to a real physical model that I can hold in my hands. By placing muscles on the model with special thickness derived from those of the actual Egyptian population, the face was reconstructed.
We're going to share that right after
The
too.
facial reconstruction of Tutankhamun was documented by Sura film for PBS. It's called Tutankhamun, Allies and Enemies. This was really a moment of joy, holding the facial reconstruction of my childhood hero, King Tutankhamun. This was my story. Thank you.
Ah. All right. Well, as I'm saying in the past in our video, thank you so much, Sahar, for that deep dive on the amazing work you get to do. I just, like, it must be so fun to get to be involved in these things, given your history. But I mean, just in general, like anyone who got to do this it would be so amazing. But the fact that you've got to live and breathe this since you were a little girl is so cool. Is there is there a favorite part of what you get to do? Like, it all sounds so amazing, but is there something that gets you up in the morning?
Yeah, I'm very lucky actually. I think that to love my work that much and to be passionate about it, it's really very important.
Yeah. We've already got a bunch of questions from our audience, so we're going to dive in with those. So let's see. Is there anything with new technology? So we talked about CT scans, we talked about X-rays, we talked about some of this tech that's enabled us to do a deep dive into mummies that we otherwise wouldn't get to explore. Is there anything new that we're getting to use that is unlocking even more mysteries? We were talking with a paleontologist the other day about dinosaur biology, and some of the new tech is really opening up some doors for them. Are you seeing that in the work that you do?
Definitely, you know that when we work with technology, and technology is really advancing every day. There is a new advancement, and then you translate this into studying mummies and studying the archaeology. So every day we have something new that can help us to know more. For example, we have now the CT scan that can tell us the actual composition of the material inside the body of the mummified body without taking any samples. So this is really amazing. There are more reconstruction that can give you a lifelike appearance, that can demonstrate the to suit the well presentations for example, museums and for education or so. So definitely there are many.
Super cool. Well, speaking of museums, we talked about this before we went live. Can you tell us a little bit about the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which our audience might know about, they might be entirely unfamiliar with? It's this grand showcase of everything in Egyptian history, and I'd love your take on it.
Yeah. The Grand Egyptian Museum, it's the largest museum in the world that hosts one civilization, which is the ancient Egyptian civilization. Over 100,000 objects are there, including the whole more than 5,000 objects of the treasure of King Tutankhamun, all under one roof for the first time. Remember that only about 1,000 or so were displayed in the old museum in Cairo Egyptian Museum, but now the whole 5,000 are shown. It's a great opportunity to see the civilization, to see 100 of several objects that date thousands and thousands of years from the Egyptian civilization in different aspects, as well as the whole treasure of King Tutankhamun, including his two daughters. Yes, Tutankhamun had two daughters, and the mummified bodies are now displayed for the first time in the Grand Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
You invited me to come. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come back to Egypt. I had the chance to tour a museum with Sahar with my wife a couple of years back, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever done in conjunction with my work of all time. And I will say, King Tutankhamun's sarcophagus at the old museum is, to this day, I don't think ever to be topped, the most beautiful man-made object I've ever seen in my life. I struggle to conceive of how anyone could make something more beautiful than that. And to think that there are, others of those that could be found in the future is just unbelievable. I hope many people get the chance to visit your museum. How nice is that?
You're most welcome, all of you.
On this note, so are there more tombs to be discovered? I got the chance to visit the Valley of the Kings, where there's a lot of the sort of hallways of past, including King Tut's tomb. Are we finding more? Have we found everything there is to find?
There are many excavations always taking action, but it is also important to know that we do not aim to disturb the dead. We are only aiming to know more about the civilization when there are evidences that we can know more. And as I've told you, that when I do the excavations, I go down and X-ray the mummies inside their coffins, and after that we leave them in their place and we move. And this is a sort of important respect of the eternal rest of the dead. And at the same time, we know about the civilization in the non-invasive way or a non-destructive way, and this is the way that my work.
Yeah, your program, your presentation is one of the most shocking ones that I've seen personally, having done this for 10 years, because seeing how we treated the dead, not even that long ago, is like, it's truly wild to think that we were turning mummies into things for people to just, use as medical paste and other things. It's so beyond the pale, it's hard to fathom. And it's been really heartening to see in the last few decades this huge shift towards respecting every culture on this planet, especially from people like me who have done a lot of those bad things for many, many years. So I'm really glad to see we're doing it in a different way now. And I hope
I've been asked several times, aren't you afraid when you go down in the burial chambers, maybe 30 meters underground, and you are facing the dead people? Aren't you afraid of that? Do they come and haunt you in your dreams? And I will tell you, just no. On the contrary, when I go down, I go to serve my ancestors, my great grandmothers and fathers. I go and to honor my civilization, the Egyptian civilization. So what I do in a totally honorable way and a totally non-destructive way is to serve the civilization and serve my ancestors. So no, I'm not afraid.
No, it's a beautiful message. It's really, we've had the chance to talk to archaeologists in South America and Europe and in Egypt. And so it's a universal sentiment. Like, I think a lot of people would innately think that you would be afraid of death and afraid of that contact. And most people find it a very reverential experience. I hope for our audience in some fashion, you get the chance to do that, because it really does touch you when you have that opportunity. So you talked about going down in the tombs with this heavy duty technology. Is it challenging to get down there? Is it dangerous in any way? Can you share a little bit about what it's actually like going down?
You know what? I do have being very well planned. So I go and inspect the place, and I take all the safety precautions, including the radiation. And including also to secure that there will be no falling of the rocks from the shaft on our heads. But despite of doing everything, it is really a hard job. Remember that we go down in just a ladder, wood ladder, 30 meters underground, and to work there with the humidity and with the hot weather, and it's not easy even to go up and just have some rest or so. No, it will just like maybe 6 hours working in that place. But we all work with passion and with love to accomplish our mission.
I love the way you phrase things, Sahar. It's always so fun. Okay. Is there a most surprising thing that you've ever found? When we had the chance to talk in person, you highlighted quite a few of your travels, of your adventures, of the things that you've had the chance to discover. You showcased them in the presentation. Is there anything that really shocked you when you found it?
You know that for the mummified body, which is now we don't say mummy, we say mummified body. For the mummified bodies of the ancient Egyptians, there is no body like the other. They are totally in a different way. There is no way that they are two identical bodies. So in each time I do this digital unwrapping and I look with the CT scan for in the body, each time I find something new, something unique, something different. So I am awed all the time. I'm just in an awe. And in a passion to know what's going on here, how this person looked like, how he lived, how he was prepared for the eternity. So each time there is something new that you see for the first time.
Oh, what a neat way of thinking about it. This is my favorite thing about science in general, is that if you're a paleontologist, you explore something that hasn't been seen in millions of years. If you're a biologist looking for new species in the rainforest, you find something that no one has ever talked about or no one has ever shared. And I think it's what really, it makes me feel like this about science, because it's the essence of exploration and discovery, is that we are the first to discover things and we get the privilege of sharing them with others. And that's why it's been so nice to have you on, sharing all your stories with us. Sahar, time flies when you're having fun. We're nearing the end of the class period for everybody. So is there any final message about your work, about Egypt, about the tombs that you'd like to share with us before we say farewell?
I am, as an Egyptian, I'm very honored to be an Egyptian and to be part of this ancient civilization. But also, this ancient civilization is part of the whole world. So the whole world can be proud of such community and such civilization. And maybe any one of you all over the world may like to know more about the civilization, to learn, and maybe sometimes to be specialized and help us to understand more about the ancient people who lived more than 5,000 years or more.
Yeah. I can tell you, having just visited Egypt for a week, that it gets its hooks in you and you want to go back. It's a very, very special part of the world. I really can't encourage you enough to get to, or at least look up, the Grand Egyptian Museum, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, agglomeration of ancient culture in human history. Really beautiful website too, so you can explore some really cool stories there. Sahar, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule as a radiologist, Egyptologist, everything, world traveler and lecturer, to join us. We really appreciate it here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants.
It's always a great pleasure to meet you and to meet all of our friends. So I'm looking forward to the next time.
We will see you soon. And for now, have a wonderful day. Bye for now, Sahar. Bye for now, everyone at home. Have a wonderful day. See you soon. Farewell. Farewell.